planned gift, we tell the donor that so that they are aware that it's our policy to put it in the endowment unless they don't want it to be there.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So Lori, same?
It's the same, and we have an endowment with the Community Foundation, and then we also have an endowment that is with Stonebelt, and so they can also make that decision, but we would direct it towards our endowment.
May I add that those two stories illustrate those are practice and policies, not legal terms, because there are two types of endowment. If it's donor-directed, if I, the donor, say it is restricted for X, Y, Z, you must always keep it, even if you have to close your doors. Your charity sends its endowment intact by law off to another charity you've designated. But a lot of charities don't know that. They think it's a rainy day fund to spend down when things get bad. No, donor-directed endowment must always stay intact. Then there's something called board-directed endowment. That's what he's talking about. Does the board decide to create an endowment? And, the good thing about endowment, it says to the world, we plan to be here forever. That's what it really says to the world, and it does attract other planned gifts, potentially so. That's true. A subsequent board can come and upset a board-designated endowment. So a board 20 years later could spend it out. So there's two different kinds of endowment, and it depends on what the charity wants to do in terms of addressing those choices.
Tim, is that pretty standard in terms of an unrestricted planned gift?
Yeah, I mean, Pam's exactly right. If it's a donor designation, you have to honor the donor's designation. If you have flexibility inside the organization, a board-directed endowment, or if you have an existing endowment and the donor does not give any other designation, then typically an organization is going to put that into an already existing endowment. But those are practices and policies. Those are not legal restrictions, except for the donor designation.
I see.
One other thing Pam mentioned earlier, I think it was Pam, talked about how few donors actually tell the organizations that there's a planned gift in place. I think it's up to 2/3 of donors who have charitable bequests in their charitable provisions in their wills have not told the organization. Mm-hmm. So Brian mentioned earlier in his presentation that, and I meant to mention it as well. I agree with this 100%. If you do not have a planned giving program right now, start with a bequest program. It's easy. There's very little management involved in it. And what I always say to organizations is, if you want to be successful with a bequest program, you just need to coach the person who answers the telephone how to say thank you when the call comes in, that you are the recipient of a bequest and a will, and you're going to be getting $1 million. You just need somebody to be able to say thank you. Okay?
Very good. Very good. We've got time for a couple more, and so we'll get folks home. This is specifically for the donor. This person asks, can you state why you are making your gift to your agency or agencies, and what convinced you to do it?
I guess I would say that, first of all, I'm lucky enough to be able to do that. And so I picked places that were established and people that I knew that were involved that I felt were extremely trustworthy, and that this agencies were going on in perpetuity. Pretty much what you've said down there. And then there's a little portion that I wanted to go to a certain place that's I'm giving actually through the Community Foundation. There's a little portion that is going to something that is special to me, but the rest of it, I just wanted to make sure that that this community is where I grew up. I left for a number of years, 30, and came back here. And this community has given me a great deal, and I want to be able to do something, however small, back to it. So the Community Foundation, for example, was a place that I felt that they would look at the needs and know where somebody could be benefiting. And so that, I think, is mostly just established and thoughtful and definitely for the community as a whole.
Very good. Any response from anyone here? Okay. This will be the last one. What I'm going to do is ask everyone to respond to this question. I apologize if we haven't been able to come to all the questions, but this question is, what have you seen, based on your experience, has been the most successful approach for your donors, or in your case, to you as a donor? So, Tim, in terms of approaches to donors, what seems to generate the greatest success in the long run?
Is this geared specifically to planned gifts, or is it geared in general to fundraising?
Well, I would, why don't we make it twofold, because planned gifts naturally is a course here that
Right.
we're talking about, but most of these folks depend on, obviously, the annual giving, as we all do, that annual giving.
Well, I would go back to the pyramid that we started with this morning, where we have the impulsive, the habitual, careful, and thoughtful givers, and say, in the context of an annual fund or major gifts program or a capital campaign, I've found that there are many donors who are motivated by the compelling urgency of whatever that campaign is or whatever that internal need is. When you start talking about the larger gifts, and in particular the planned gift, I think the success is based on listening to the donor and what the donor wants to accomplish, and whether you're the right organization to help them to accomplish that. I don't think you can shoehorn people in to your case or your need when you're talking to them about an estate plan. I think you have to listen to their desires, their dreams, their aspirations, and then if you can help them by their making a gift to your organization, then you've got a partnership. If you can't help them, I really think the role of the fundraiser at that point is to say, we're not the right organization, but I know of others that are more appropriate for you.
Thank you. Lori?
That's what I was going to say.
Should I start it with your follow?
So going back to planned giving, I have had conversations with donors who have been donors to the organization I'm representing for many years, and I thought that with a deeper conversation that it might end up leading to a possibility of a planned gift for the organization, and it turned out that it's not where they were thinking. And so I did have to suggest, well, these are some other agencies in our community that you could consider it for a planned gift, but I also would recommend talking to your financial advisor about what you want to do with your estate. It's all about the donor. It really is, and you can't shoehorn them. For annual giving, it is, and most annual donors, year after year, and those habitual donors that will not increase that $5 or $10, goodness. But it's the programs, it's the things that they have become excited about, hopefully, and a lot of us are in one-person shops, two-person shops, and it's almost impossible to know all your donors. But hopefully maybe there was something that you highlighted in that one mailing that you did, and that's what they responded to. So now you kind of have a clue of what they like and what they're most interested in. So hopefully if you have a conversation with them, you're able to talk to them about the new thing that you're doing. It's difficult. And I'm going to do another, it's not a plug, but something I want everyone to remember is that because we're all small shops, getting that planned giving program, why aren't we doing it? Well, we don't have lots of time, right? And we're all pulled in the entire fund development program. But for a planned giving program, your gift acceptance policies, having that bequest language available in your newsletter, on your website, those are kind of the basic things. And now you have a planned giving program. All right? 2/3 of the people that are going to be leaving a planned gift you don't know about. So when that gift comes in, you need to know what's going to happen to it, because you're going to have individuals that say, we need the money now. It should go into our annual fund. And as a development professional, and I agreed completely with you, that ethically this is their gift that they have been saving up their entire life, that it should be going into an endowment or something that's going to be around in perpetuity. And I've had an executive director in the past that said, no, we're putting it into the annual fund. And I'm like, no. But, you do what you can. But having that gift acceptance policy will be good for you. Okay, that's everything I wanted to make sure I said.
Great job.
I would say what works best to prompt activity or action is talking to everybody. And I always call it casting my line, if and when. The most likely planned gift prospect is anybody who has made a gift to your organization more than once in any amount. Okay, that's like everybody. So I've done some great gift planning in the aisles of Kroger and even on the Montessori preschool playground. because people are